we see pictures of a horse galloping across a screen today, we don't even stop to think that this is modern magic. We all know more or less the principles of the motion picture camera. We all know a little bit about shutters and lenses. We know that before you can take any kind of picture, you must have film, which must be developed before you can see anything on it. And we know that moving pictures are not really moving pictures at all, but only a series of small still photographs which break down a movement into its successive stages. A specially built machine, such as a moviola used by a film editor, creates the illusion that these still pictures move. Finally, we know that when we go to the movies, a moving picture projector, functioning on the same principle as a camera, will throw a perfect life-sized reproduction of the same galloping horse on the screen. And we know that the basic principle involved in moving pictures depends upon an optical illusion. But all the knowledge needed to create this illusion of still pictures in motion was beyond anyone's conception when the magic lantern was the rage 150 years ago. Then, too, the room was darkened and a screen was used. But the magic lantern was no forerunner of today's movies. The hand-painted slides, in which movement was mechanically produced by jiggling a lever, had absolutely no relationship to today's film. The first germ of the idea of moving pictures is found in a child's toy, the Traumatrope. This device, invented by an English physicist, Sir John Herschel, consisted of a cardboard disc with a separate image painted on each side. If you twirl the disc rapidly, the images seem to form a new and completely different picture. It is, of course, an optical illusion. Joseph Plateau, a Belgian physicist, heard of this strange trick played by the human eye and decided to investigate it. For 25 seconds, he stared at the sun and, for the first time, established that the retina of the eye retains an impression of a luminous object a full third of a second after the actual light source has disappeared. A simple experiment proves it. If you turn an indented disc in front of a bulb, you will first see a succession of lights and blanks. When you speed up the rotation of the disc, the peculiar property of your eye seems to dissolve the blanks between the lights. On the basis of this magical property of the human eye, Plateau was the first to invent a device which seemed to make inanimate pictures move. He drew a series of images representing the different positions of a galloping horse on a cardboard disc. Little slits in the disc let the light through. Looking through the slits, while holding the rotating disc to a mirror, you had the optical illusion that the static, painted figures were gradually changing their position. You seemed to see the horse move. The phenakistoscope, as Plateau called his invention, was completed in 1832. Soon many gadgets based on the same principle were sold at county fairs and marketplaces. Grown-ups and children alike were enthralled. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Step right up and see with your own eyes the latest miracle of the 19th century. The greatest invention of all time.
Conçu d'après les travaux du célèbre savant anglais William Horner, reconstitue le mouvement. Regardez comment fonctionne l'appareil. Il est très supérieur à l'ancien phénakisikope. Plus besoin de glace, plus besoin de miroir. Vous prenez la bande mobile. Avec l'appareil, j'en vends une douzaine, comportant les sujets les plus divers, pirouettes, jongleurs, acrobaties. Tenez, monsieur, vous placez la bande au fond du tambour. Là. Et vous imprimez à ce dernier une légère rotation. Penchez-vous, madame, regardez par la pente.
The greatest source of amusement for young and old. Take it home for your kiddies and your friends. Nothing like it has ever been invented before. Buy it now. Take it home today. "40 years later, Émile Reynaud, a painter of slides for the Magic Lantern, read a description of Plateau's invention in one of the first scientific magazines ever published. He was intrigued. The idea of giving life, motion, to a static picture fascinated him. For the rest of his life, Reynaud, living in a small apartment in Paris, was obsessed by this one idea. To take still, static drawings and make them look alive was the only thing that mattered to him. He built a machine like Plateau's, found it inadequate, and invented his own. The slits of Plateau's cardboard disc were replaced by mirrors set edge to edge around a revolving center. Each mirror of his praxinoscope reflects one image of a hand-painted strip placed on the outer rim. And here, for the first time, with a charm that still enchants and delights us today, the images glide along, flow one into the other, with a mysterious life of their own. Still, Reynaud wasn't satisfied. Soon he hit upon the idea of drawing pictures on a black background. This would permit an infinite variety of backdrops for the same characters. In today's highly perfected modern animation studios, we still use the same simple principle that Reynaud worked out more than 50 years ago. Flip of the wrist, a change of either characters or background, and a brand new show starts. It doesn't matter that the entire performance lasts only a few seconds, that the strip is made up of only 12 poses. It still keeps you spellbound. You want to see it again and again. Reynaud went further. Not until he invented the Théâtre Optique was he satisfied, and the Théâtre Optique was a real theater. Here, the small strips were replaced by a long band containing 500 hand-painted slides drawn on transparent gelatin. Small holes punched between each image foreshadow the perforations of modern film. Each hole meshes into the teeth of a large wheel, rotating at the same speed as the 36 mirrors at the center. Each individual image is lighted up separately. By an interplay of mirrors and lenses, the ray of light is reflected back to a mobile mirror, which in turn projects the enlarged image onto different sections of the screen. The figures move according to the whim of the projectionist. He can speed it up, make it go backwards, or stop it altogether. A second lantern throws the background onto the screen. This was the fulfillment of Reynaud's ambition. Here he could tell a real story, lasting a full quarter of an hour. Here his actors were life-size. Here he could almost create the illusion of reality. At that time, wax museums were very fashionable. At the Musée Grévin, in the same small chamber where magicians pulled rabbits out of hats, Reynaud had the first public showing of his own brand of magic, the magic of the first animated cartoons. For more than 10 years, Reynaud worked here, behind the screen that separated the audience from his primitive projection booth. In this time, he produced more than 7 complete shows for the people of Paris. He ran the whole show himself. This was Reynaud's big dream, the dream of breathing life into small static pictures, the dream that depended upon a quirk in the human eye, upon an optical illusion.